What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Corner Podcast. Kel Dansby here with the old man Andreas and Kel. Man, it was nice to have you back. You were gone for a second. For a second. How was vacation? You look a little tan. I promised people that you'd be more tan, but you know.
I mean, it was great. It's not good to be back. I'd rather be in Aruba still right now. Spent a week out there with the wife. Disconnected from the world. Didn't know what the hell. The only thing that I did is I eventually watched the Kendrick, the Pop Out concert. Me
Yes,
and my
which
wife watched it together.
we'll be talking about that on a Patreon episode
Yeah,
here this week.
I eventually watched that, but I didn't watch any fights. I didn't watch any wrestling. I didn't watch anything. I mostly spent time in restaurants on the beach. We had a pool at our house, in the pool all day because it's constantly 85 degrees with like 70% humidity in Aruba. Man, it was great.
You went Airbnb instead of all inclusive?
Yeah, no, fuck those all inclusives. What I've learned over the years is all inclusives include trash food and watered down drinks.
Oh, both. Yes to both.
Yeah, so the plan was for us was we rented an Airbnb, which is like equal the same price. We had a nice Airbnb 3-bedroom house with a big ass swimming pool. So we stayed there. It wasn't too far from the beach. Everything is on one street in Aruba. And I booked a bunch of reservations for like high end. And we did the Michelin star restaurant. The Bear comes back tonight for anybody who wonders what a Michelin star restaurant is. You should know it by watching the Bear. But
They drop every episode at once.
yeah, which is kind of trash. I don't even understand. The Bear is a show that I truly think you should give it a week so people can talk about each episode before they go into the next week. But they're dropping all the episodes at once. So people are going to finish it this weekend. I would if I didn't have a fight. But yeah, I did my first Michelin star experience. That shit is expensive, but it's an experience unlike anything else. Michelin star restaurants. I eat things I've never thought would have eaten in my life. I'm not a big tuna guy. I'm not a big like lamb.
Lamb
But
is delicious.
yeah, I mean, I never really had it like cooked like this before. It was amazing. My wife enjoyed herself. We ate at the top of a light tower. We had a private dinner for her birthday. We did. We went to one spot. It's one spot where all the black people congregate. It's one spot. It's called, I think it's called the South Coast Bar, and there ain't no real nightclubs out there. And so we had went down to this little strip area, and there's like all the Spanish people in one spot, and then like all the white people in this bar standing on top of tables. And this black spot, which doesn't start until a little bit later. You go there. We had sidecars, which is like this cognac drink, and like they played they played a lot of Sexy Red, and then Wobble, and then
Sounds about right.
it was weird, man. But it was black. And all
Did they
that's where
play
all the black
Kendrick?
people-
Kendrick?
They played Not Like Us. Of course they did.
Everywhere I've been, every single place. I was in Reno for my friend's wedding, and it was rodeo weekend in Reno, and they're playing nothing but like maybe there was actually a decent amount of black people at this hotel and in the pool, but they were playing like older music, like just some poppy shit, and then out of nowhere they played some country. Out of nowhere, they play Not Like Us. And I'm telling you, maybe the guys didn't know it, the rodeo guys, but every one of the rodeo women knew this shit word for word for word. And I was like, white people mess with this. Like, this shit is next level big.
Yeah, that song is big. But yeah, it was big in Aruba. And I was like, damn, this song is everywhere. But we did that. We did massages. I had my first lymph massage. It was weird. Like I don't get naked for massages, and I didn't for this one either. It's weird. It's
What?
just weird. I don't keep my drawers on.
That's like keeping your socks on for their pedicure.
No, it's not.
Like, what's the point?
Ain't nobody massaging my balls. So
No,
yeah,
not your balls, but at least like your
nah,
back
man.
and like the
Yeah, keep my
glutes get
drawers
tight.
on. Nah, keep my drawers on, man. I'm not comfortable with all that.
Just keep
But
my
me and my
drawers.
wife did couples massages. We did everything, man. We packed a lot. It was our first vacation without kids, so we packed a lot into just a couple of days. Well, a week. We were there for a week. We flew first class.
Got a crepe.
Which yeah, I had a crepe. I
That's
had
how I knew you were bougie and fancy.
oh man,
So if I ordered a crepe on the plane.
they plus that sparkling wine for the entire flight. It was. I mean, the experience was great. It was great. Now it's like the error in my ways is this is what my wife's gonna expect every birthday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But she deserves it every birthday.
She does. She does. I
The
like.
hell
She
with your
absolutely
birthday.
do. Yeah.
Your birthday falls on Valentine's Day. She always goes all out.
Yeah. Well, this was all out. This was all out. But
Nah,
it's
that's
it's okay to be back. It's okay. It's not great to be back. It's okay.
I always have like the after vacation hangover, not like physical hangover. I also have that, but also like just mental hangover. It's like, damn, I'm back to like real life. I'm
Yeah, not
back to
feeling that.
work. Yeah, like ever since you've convinced me to take actual vacations, which you set me up for the okey doke. Now I come back and I'm just like, man, all right, back to work.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta like we got home Monday at midnight. Tuesday I had to be at the Apex doing interviews for ESPN. And I was just like, I was not in the mood.
No,
I was
like I was on a beach yesterday.
yeah, I was on a beach drinking all kinds of shit. I drank everything. We drank way too much, but who cares? But now I got to
Yeah.
go back to work.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have you back on the pod. You mentioned it. We're talking UFC 303 today, and we're going to go down the card, talk about some of the fights that were supposed to be on this card, no longer on this card. A lot of changes here. We'll go through this, give our predictions, what's next for some of these fighters, and then kind of just what's next for the UFC. As I guess I'll be seeing you tonight because we're recording this on a Wednesday. There's like a whole Noches UFC get together where it's like, yo, it's at the Wynn Country Club. It's like, all right, let me throw on my finest sneakers and head over there. So I'd be a casual bougie with you tonight. So we'll be over there for that, and they'll probably have an announcement about that, hopefully. So we'll know what the main event is, but that's going to be really big. It looks like they're really planning out. We're getting an idea for the fall cards now.
Yeah, things are starting to shake out. It's kind of messed a lot of stuff up. Him and his
We
broken
still don't
penis.
know where he stands, but we do know there's some
Yeah,
other good fights kind of lined up for that. So
absolutely.
we'll run the gamut there. We'll start on, I guess you mentioned Conor, but we'll start with some of the other fights that are no longer because 303 was a decent card with Conor on it if he would have delivered. But even then, this card is almost unrecognizable from the card they announced 2 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, talk about a shakeup. The light heavyweight co-main, that fight that was originally a co-main event between Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree, has now had what, 5 fighters
Yep.
rotating in and out of that spot?
Five. In which now those two just get to fight again. Like if
Yeah,
you're both hurt, like just fight at Noches UFC.
yeah,
Let's
like
just
for
run this
real.
in September. Like just keep the original fight. But it was Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. Then Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg. Then Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. And then now it's Anthony Smith versus fuck, I don't even know. There's too many changes.
My brain ain't working, so I don't really feel
Oh,
like
versus
looking.
Roman.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, on
Yeah,
this
okay.
card. So Anthony versus Roman now takes place. It's 3 fights down on the main card. Um, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez is now the new co-main event for this
Yep.
weekend. Huge spot for Diego Lopez.
Yeah.
Huge. And then uh Ian Gary and Michael Venom Page open the card now. Which to
It's
me, that should have been the co-main.
yeah, I talked to MVP yesterday, and yeah, I was like, I don't know how this isn't the co-main event. I don't know how. Like, listen, Diego Lopez and Brian Ortega is a great fight. Diego
Yeah.
Lopez's arrows pointing straight up. Ortega is a former title contender, one of the best chins and one of the most durable fighters in the division. If Diego Lopez can beat him, he's on the fast track. But MVP versus Ian Gary might end up being fight of the night, depending
Yeah.
on how their styles play with each other in terms of they could be looking to counter all night, or they could just be all action. But that's like a striker's paradise right there. I don't know why it's not the co-main event. MVP thought it should have been. Ian Gary thought it should have been. I don't know why it's not, but whatever. Good fight to open the card, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the main card. That's half the battle. And then, of course, we had Conor and Michael Chandler getting canceled with Conor pulling out his first fight. We talked about that. Now it comes out that Conor had injured his toe. Rafael Dos Anjos laughed at him. Was
All
like, ha
jokes.
ha ha. Yeah, you're talking shit about me. And now it's just a pinky toe, which fuck that. I've stubbed my pinky toe before. And I've been like limping for 3 days.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's a like we all knew to an extent it had to be an injury that they were trying to navigate. Now it makes sense. It feels like Conor was trying to fight through this injury, right? Like he was trying to figure out a way to get through it. That's why training footage surfaced again. That's why he had the one Instagram post where he looked like he was at the doctor's office. It
Yeah.
seemed like he was ready to go, but like you said, stubbing your toe, like breaking your pinky toe, which is like centers your balance. He couldn't navigate it, and the UFC gave him every opportunity to fight because Conor's never pulled out of a fight before. But alas, he's out. So now we get to see where, how long Chandler's gonna have to wait now until this heals up, where they're gonna put this card. For those of you who saw my ESPN cover story on McGregor's timeline over the past 7 years since the Mayweather fight, it's not great. It's so not great that I got an email from Conor's team. They're like, hey, we'd like to clear some things up with you. I don't know what you want to clear up because everything I wrote is reported as it happened. So whatever it is, I mean, Conor has not had as a fighter, he hasn't had a great run since the Mayweather fight. As a rich person, tremendous run. He's made tons of money.
That's what counts.
But my man can't stay out of trouble with the law. He can't stay out of the sexual assault allegations. He can't stay out of reckless driving. He can't stay out of punching old people at bars. He can't stay out of beefing with everybody from Hezbollah to goddamn Canelo to anybody who's on social media. He's doing it again. He's picking on Dustin Poirier right now as we speak on social media. He can't let it go.
I don't get it.
He's got to win a fight. I was asked by the time, well, no, not by the time this podcast comes out. This podcast will already be out. I'm on ESPN Daily with Clinton Yates for Friday, talking UFC 303. And Clinton asked me, and Clinton's more of a casual fan. He was like, does Conor fight again? And I was like, I can see why a lot of people would say he wouldn't if you don't know Conor. Conor's going to fight again. He can't help himself at this point. He doesn't need to fight again. And at one point, I thought maybe he won't fight again. But for him to go through these camps to injure his toe, he's going to fight again. I don't know how many more times he fights, but he's a fighter at heart. And I think he knows at this point in his career that idle time is not great for him. The more time he spends not fighting, he gets into trouble.
He's on the Tyson Fury path. I just got to fight to save myself from myself.
And he's very Mike Tyson in that sense, right? Like Mike Tyson towards the end of his career was a huge draw, but he was getting beat up. Right? Like when he fought Lennox Lewis, everybody's like, yeah, like me as a youngin', I was like, yo, Mike's got a chance. Mike had no chance against Lennox. Lennox kicked his ass.
30 years later, people say, Mike got a chance. It's against Jake now.
They continue to say this, but in Conor's case, like this is the perfect opponent to beat Michael Chandler because he's going to fight Conor's fight. But how good is Conor McGregor? We really don't know. We have no idea how good this man is. And all he's doing is wasting his prime years by not fighting.
And Chandler's no slouch. So
no, not at all.
Like, if you're good enough, like damn near borderline title contender, you can beat him. But if you're not, he'll still put the hands on.
No, he gives everybody hell. Like he gave Justin Gaethje hell. He like Dustin Poirier got him out of here. He gives him hell. Like Charles Oliveira, he's going to fight you. He's coming to fight. But the thing he doesn't have to worry about is being taken down, which is good in a sense. But the problem is Conor's so long and rangy, and Chandler's got little pterodactyl arms. He's gonna have a hard time getting inside. But we'll see when that fight happens, man. I know the UFC's hurt by not having Conor on this card because you're losing a lot of money. Like First Take, I think, was supposed to be out here this week. Like it was supposed to be a big, big, big week for ESPN and the UFC. And especially with nothing happening. NBA finals are over, NHL's over. Like, who cares about baseball? As a White Sox fan, who gives a shit about baseball right now?
My Yankees are hobbling, so I'm with you.
Yeah, like nobody cares. Outside the WNBA, there's really nothing to pay attention to. College
and they're
football
about to go to the Olympics, so half of them about to be gone anyway.
Yeah, so there's like there's nothing to care about in sports. Like I legitimately I was watching First Take this morning because the NBA draft, and I was like, yo, they're gonna be like every year they start pulling at straws because like, what are we gonna talk about today? All the focus would have been on Conor this weekend. They don't get it. Oh, well.
No. And now if he comes back September, October, November, you're in college football, NFL, like you're in the thick of it. NBA starting up again. You're post Olympics and whatever fallout happens there. You're Caitlin Clark, maybe playoff push. I don't know. Like you're in a whole different, you're battling MLB playoffs, battling for headlines. Where Connor's never had a problem with that. But
No.
it's still like this is ideal.
Yeah,
And
this is what you want. You wanted the freeway wide open for you to do
yeah.
everything you wanted to do. Oh well.
Yeah. So they've had to adjust and adjust they have. We'll go through the card. The early prelims and prelims are not something we really come to expect from like one of these cards. Usually it's like stacked even down to the prelims. Nothing really here jumps out at me except did you know Andre Arlovsky is still fighting?
I mean, does Andrei Arlovsky know he's still fighting? Like this man is old.
Apparently he's been beating ass. Like they've been trying to get him out of here for a second.
Yeah, they've had a hard time with Arlovsky because it's like they keep trying to use him to get somebody else over, and it's not really working. Now, look, granted,
Well, to be fair, he's lost.
he's
Wait.
lost he's lost three in a row, but
Oh,
he's remained competitive.
yeah.
I mean, losing to Dontel Mays, it is what it is.
That
This
hurts.
could be. There are three fighters on this card that should be on retirement watch. Andrei Arlovsky,
He's 45. He damn near my mama age.
Michelle Waterson Gomez. Like I
Yes,
think
she
she's at
fights
the
right
end.
after him.
Yep. And Cub Swanson. Those are three fighters on retirement watch on this card. Like if they lose, they might retire in the octagon.
I was about to say Ricky Simon's been around forever. He's only 31.
Nah, he's young, man. He's
Yeah,
young.
he's been around forever. But yeah, Cubs 34 against Andre, touchy feely. That's a good fight though.
That is a good all action fight. I mean, the if anybody's looking at this card, before it was Joe Pfeiffer, right? About if you would ask me this question about 9 months ago, now it's Peyton Talbot. Everybody's like Peyton Talbot is that dude.
Yeah,
And
he been talking that shit.
And I think he's the biggest favorite by far. I think he's like a plus 15. I'm sorry, like a minus 1500. It's ridiculous how big of a favorite he is on this card. But if you haven't watched him fight before, you'll get a chance to watch him now. He opens up the prelims. Tune in for that, dude. And then yeah, Joe Pfeiffer and Marc-Andre Barrial is a pretty good main event to the prelims. But solid prelims, nothing like outstanding. Ricky Simone opening, that's cool. Arlovsky's old. Gomez, Jillian Robertson that's actually not a bad fight, but
they're good fights. It's just like it's not the UFC Miami card.
What I mean,
right?
they had Conor, right? Like they had Conor, so it was like, what's the point of putting all these names on the card if we got Conor? But now you don't have Conor. It's like,
it was like let's do a couple of retirement fights and let's do some good prospects and give them kind of the rub off of the Conor fight and then figure it out. And then when you lose Conor, it's like, oh fuck. Guess we could have stacked this a little more.
This
main card, first up, Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Page. Taking Gary in this one. I've always been of the opinion that when MVP fights someone of high quality, either it's a boring ass fight or he doesn't win. Like both his like I've only seen him fight two quality people. He has two losses. So I think Ian Gary is good enough to put him in that position where, yeah, it's MVP is not well-rounded enough. He gets gun shy if you hit him. And I think Ian's going to come in and walk him down and put pressure on him. And it only being a 3-round fight, yeah, I think Ian Machado Gary's winning this.
Pick an MVP. Look, I have not been terribly thrilled with Ian Gary's last couple of performances. The split decision against Jeff Neal and the Neil Magny fight weren't great. MVP is much more dynamic than both of them. MVP looked good against Kevin Holland. The only people that MVP loses to are guys who also have wrestling.
Yeah.
Ian don't wrestle.
No.
They're going to be standing up. And if Ian
got a little bit of jiu-jitsu, if you fall.
He does. The thing about Ian Gary, and I know he's like saying this as a play, but he was like, I'm so uninterested in this fight. Don't fuck around and fight MVP uninterested and eat a flying knee and then turn it to a meme.
Yeah,
right? Like
he will meme you.
Yeah. And for Ian Gary to kind of like look past MVP and say he's not interested, he wanted to fight Colby Covington, like he wants, Shavkat Rakhmonov maybe at some point. You can't do that with MVP. You just can't. MVP likes people that come at him. And that's why I say this could be a barn burner or this could stink. Because if Ian doesn't engage, because he didn't really engage with Neil Magny either.
No, but Neil is weird and very awkward. There's a reason why they use Neil as a gatekeeper. And I say that in the best regards to Neil.
but Ian Gary just didn't look great against Jeff Neal, and it makes me wonder when we have these encounters where Ian Gary's trying to prove something, trying to act like this fight doesn't matter. Could he run into a buzzsaw? Yes, MVP is 37 years old, but the dude's potential in terms of striking and creativity have been through the roof since he arrived at Bellator. So I'm gonna pick MVP. I'm hoping for somebody to get knocked out in this fight. I do not want a 3-round decision. I need these dudes to throw down. Or if it's going to be a 3-round decision, I hope they bloody up the damn octagon.
I doubt either of those happen. I think it's going to be a friendly chess match between the two. I'm taking Ian, but I can see Venom Page winning that as well. I think it's going to be more boring than people assume it will be. It's one of those fights that look great on paper. And then in practice, it'll be like, oh, fuck. And then Myra Benasilva versus Macy Chiasson. I mean, a cool fight. Like,
Macy's trying to make it seem like, Myra's a weirdo, right? Like Myra, she lost to Raquel Pennington, and she showed how green she was in that fight, right? Yeah. Like, but I think Macy Chiasson isn't as durable or as resilient as Raquel Pennington, because Myra had her in some tough spots early in that fight and just completely gassed out. Macy Chiasson is not that, and I think Myra Benasilva is going to get a victory here, and I think she's going to finish her in like the first or second round. I think it'll be some kind of submission that Macy can't deal with, and Myra is good. She's still green. She's just still very green, but naturally she's talented. I think she gets the job done.
Yeah, I'll take this by some, just because I think it's one of those, you got to bounce back. The division's not deep enough for you to not bounce back. So they need someone to still stay like around there. And you need names, because Kayla Harrison making 135 somewhat comfortably gives a lot of intrigue to that division. Yeah. And when she runs through and captures that title, because they're going to rock her to the title, then they need people credibly to feed her.
They do.
So I think this is why I think this is why this fight is on the pay-per-view card. Because you have to start building up that division for contenders to feed Kayla. Just like when Ronda was there. It's like you had to start putting the bantamweight women on the main cards, because eventually these people are going to fight Ronda, and you had to make them at least somewhat known to your best of your ability.
Yep.
And then Anthony Smith, Roman Dolidze, excuse me. And then I don't know, man. Anthony Smith lost a lot of fights. I'm not picking him to win this one. I'm sorry. He's a nice guy. Does great commentary. I hate to pick against him. Like, I've run into him a little bit, like covering the UFC fights and everything. He's so nice. He's like a super nice guy, and he knows his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for commentary. He was going to lose to whoever they put him in there against, but now a late notice replacement against someone who's a later notice replacement. Yeah, man, he's going to lose.
I don't know, man. Look, Roman Dolidze has lost 2 in a row. He lost Amavov. He lost to who else?
That's not bad. That's not a bad loss.
He lost to Vittori. My only concern is, like, Anthony Smith is still dangerous. He's still a really good striker. As he showed against Victor Petrino's last fight, like, you fuck around and leave your neck out, he's going to guillotine you. Anthony Smith is also on retirement watch. Like, that's the 4th fighter.
Another one.
He's on retirement watch.
I think Dolidze, before losing those two, knocking out everybody.
Yeah, he was getting the job done. I just wonder where Dolidze's head's at on a short notice fight. I didn't even ask. I haven't even tried to find out how much weight he had to cut. This is a super short notice fight. Anthony Smith was still relatively in his shape, and he wasn't damaged at UFC 301, so he could pick this fight up. So I'm going to pick the Lionheart, man. I don't think it's time to get him out of here yet. I think he's got one more shot. I think he may beat Dolidze by decision. Fair. And it's really a cardio thing that I'm concerned with Roman picking up this fight on such short notice. I
don't think Roman needs cardio. I think Roman knocks him out in the first one.
He could. I mean,
and it's a damn shame, but he's such a nice guy. But no,
Khalil Roundtree got him out of here, but Khalil Roundtree hits like a bus.
Yeah, and Khalil's hit like a different wave of his career.
Right? Yeah. I'm gonna go with Anthony Smith. Would I be surprised if Roman Dolidze gets Anthony Smith out there in the round? No, but I'm still gonna pick the Lionheart.
And then Brian Ortega, Diego Lopez. Yo,
Man,
Diego
Diego,
has great hype.
he
And
lost his first fight and it just went on a tear since.
yeah, I love the look. I love the confidence. Brian Ortega is still Brian Ortega.
Yep.
This this might be one of those where uh like they gave oh boy to Dustin Poirier and Poirier stopped that whole momentum shit. The French dude,
Benoit Saint Denis.
Saint Denis. And Saint Denis was on a tear. And Poirier was like, stop. Not yet.
Yep.
Like, you good, not yet. This is that fight for me. And Diego Lopez, if he wins, he's in the sphere. He's like not co-main, but the fight right under that. And they have one hell of a Spanish representative. That would to join several other Spanish people just tearing shit up right now. But I don't see that happening. I think Brian Ortega finds a way to win this one.
Yeah. So Diego Lopez loses his UFC debut and knocks the next three people out in the first round. He mauled Sadiq Youssef. So it's not like he had wear and tear on his body, but dog, none of these dudes is Brian Ortega, right? Like Brian Ortega lost to Volk. He lost to Max Holloway in one of the most one-sided ass whoopers we had ever seen. Then he hurts himself, so he loses on a technicality, Yair. Then he subs Yair.
Yeah.
Brian Ortega's got some of the nastiest jiu-jitsu. My only concern with Ortega is that he was talking about fighting at lightweight. So I don't know how comfortable he is making featherweight on short notice. So I'm curious what that gas tank will be like. But I think when we get down to it, unless Brian Ortega is all of a sudden completely washed, that chin is durable. He got cut up and beat up by Cub Swanson, by Max Holloway.
Yair was whooping his ass in the last fight again.
That's what I'm saying.
But they
like
wrapped his ass up and it was over.
Once Brian gets his hands on you, it's a co-main event. It's not a 5-rounder though, right? I think this one staying as a 3-rounder. This all favors Ortega to me. I know they love Diego Lopez, and I know they love giving these opportunities, but just like you said, the Benoit Saint Denis fight, same damn thing. Hold up, not now. I think that's what's going to happen here.
And Lopez is going to hit him. Because again, Ortega's defense not great. He's going to take punishment. But you're going to get too antsy, then this motherfucker's going to end up on your back, and you're going to be in something weird that I don't think Diego Lopez is really seasoned enough yet to handle.
Yeah, like he might get trapped in that guillotine. He might jump the gilly, and it might be a wrap. So I'm picking Ortega probably by submission at some point in this fight. It's only 15 minutes. I think it'll be a good-ass fight, but it ain't Diego Lopez's time yet.
No. If it goes to decision, Lopez is winning because I think he has the volume to maybe outpoint to Brian Ortega. But, yeah, no, I don't think it's going that way. He's going to get caught in some real tricky shit and end up getting subbed, and he's going to be like, Like, he'll probably be winning the fight, and then be like, damn.
That's possible.
And it's over. Main event, Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska. Pereira got 2 broken toes, Connor. What the hell are we crying about? Man's coming through with 2 broken toes. But I don't know. He got hands of stone. As long as the hands work, this guy is fine. And Yuri's a full-on ninja, and he don't give a fuck. And he was ready. It's interesting to see how they look making weight.
Yeah.
Because as great as it can be, this is a weight class at light heavy where I feel like guys feel comfortable enough to balloon up, and they always have, and then use camp to really trim down. You don't see too many light heavyweight last second replacements because of that. Like John was God knows how big, 235, 240. DC was huge, 235, 240, and then cut down during camp. They're champions. Alex is huge. 235. I think it was like 232 a week ago.
Right.
And he was like, well, he just steps on the scale every fucking fight week. Look how big I am. Like leading up to his fight, he did that 2.5 weeks out. And it was like, well, I guess he's going to make 205. So I just want to see how that looks on them. And that would still kind of tell me a lot. Because to me, they're super evenly matched.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so Yuri, I think, is on weight. I was with Yuri yesterday. After he demolished oh my God.
Someone here in Vegas. I'll tell you right now.
300. Jesus. I was just talking about this yesterday. Alexander Rakic.
Rakic. Yeah.
Who dissed him and said he wasn't a real samurai.
Yeah. We saw him outside of New York, New York,
Yeah, he was just
by a
rolling,
fucking
strolling by himself.
a water brook, and he was just like there, just zenned out. I was like, oh, this man's winning. I'll put my house on.
So, but the thing is, like, all right, so fun fact, as I'm flying back from Aruba, my connecting flight is in New Jersey. Who's sitting behind me in first class? Alex Pereira
Oh shit.
and his team. So it was funny. He gets on the plane and his coach sees me. He's like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Oh, what's up?" I didn't speak to Alex. I don't speak English. I mean, I don't speak Portuguese, so
Yeah.
I didn't know how to really communicate him. I just kind of fist bumped him. He sits behind me, and I'm looking at him like, "Yo, he's big as fuck." Like, yo, he's so big, right? Clearly, he was cutting weight. Very obvious. He pissed like 13 times on the flight, right? I felt bad because I've been eating like trash for like the last week. So like, and actually not that bad because like the restaurants had like great food, but I had like chili cheese fries at the Newark airport, and I'm eating my chili cheese fries, and he's like sitting behind me, and I looked at my wife, I was like, oh, I feel bad because I'm tearing this shit up, and he can't eat none of this shit. I'm ordering sparkling wine. I had pasta like I had the works because I'm in first class. I'm like, give me all the liquor.
Yeah.
Alex is like, give me all the water, right? Like he's just drinking water. His team is like trying to support him, but he was cool. Like he took a nap on the plane. So as he's getting off the plane, I'm thinking and I'm looking, I'm sizing him up. He's probably going to make weight. Like he's going to have a hard time losing them last few pounds, but he looks like the Alex Pereira that I saw at 300. He's trimmed down. He's not 230 pounds. Like he was big a couple weeks ago. That being said, the trouble I have with picking Yuri in this fight is what happened in the Alexander Rakic fight, where he ate like 70 leg kicks before just walking him down and fit. You can't do that.
Leg kicks, punches. He was eating everything.
Yeah, like you can't do that. Alex Pereira's got some of the nastiest leg kicks in the business. Obviously has the heavy hands. I don't know what Yuri was thinking in the first fight, shooting for that takedown and just getting elbowed to hell. That won't happen. I think this will be a lot more. This will be a lot more competitive, but somebody's getting stopped. One way or another, one of these fools are getting knocked out.
The gas tank is so tough that I'm not sure if someone gets stopped early. And then at the later rounds, I'm not sure if someone has the usual, like, I understand Alex's gas tank's been great. He stopped Style Bender late. He's looked strong throughout all his fights, but they haven't been this short notice.
No,
the kicks, maybe you could punch and rock your momentum when you have two broken or nursing broken toes. It's a little tougher to kick somebody, to either plant and hold that weight or to actually use that foot to kick. So I'm not expecting many leg kicks. So now you're less of a kickboxer. Now you're just a boxer. And the arms get tired. I don't know. I think this goes 25.
Man,
I'm not sure either guy can stop either guy.
This would be a violent ass 25. Yuri.
Oh, there's elbows, there's fists.
Bro, Yuri has done his 3 days in the darkness. We talked about that. Yuri also believes that Alex has spiritual help and for all of his fights, like serious, like spiritual magic. Yuri's nuts, bro.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that.
I'm just saying, like Yuri is we talked about him like the hunter versus the hunted in our interview and how he enjoys the chase, like because he wants to hunt him, and the words he used, he's like, it turns me on. And I was like, this is nuts. So I'm picking Alex to win, but when they fought the last time, I picked Yuri. Yeah. Because I think the only problem with Yuri is his defense sucks. His defense is walking through shit.
I saw clips today of him headbutting punches.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Like, no. And you can't do that very long in any combat sport. Like, I was just watching Ricardo Mayorga highlights. Don't ask me why. But I was watching when he fought Tito Trinidad. And he was like, I could take your punch. I could take your punch. And then by like the middle rounds, Tito would hit him. And Mayorga couldn't take that shit anymore. Yuri can't do this against Alex Pereira. If he's going to beat Alex, he's going to have to get him early in a similar fashion that Adesanya did, where Alex was overcommitting. And then he had to punch him between the punches and get him out of here. I just don't think he's capable. I don't think he can. And I also don't think that Yuri's necessary game planning for Alex Pereira. I think Yuri's just fighting for a fight. And I don't think there was like a strategy meeting was like, well, if he does this, I think Yuri's like, I just fight him.
Yep.
I'm a samurai. But I think Alex is going to retain. I think the light heavyweight champ is. I think he's here for a while, and then he's going to start messing around with this heavyweight division soon. Dude, if Alex Pereira wins this fight, and there ain't no real number one contender out there.
No.
If he decides to bump up to heavyweight, and John Jones, for whatever reason, decides to hang around and fight him, I'm very interested in that fight because that's the Anthony Johnson fight that I never got out of John Jones.
Yeah.
To see if he can get hit.
It's just tough because we know Alex's wrestling
trash.
Is pretty shitty.
Yeah,
pretty
it's trash.
Yeah.
It's awful.
So if John leaves himself, you can't take him down against the cage because obviously you're going to catch some elbows and he might put your ass to sleep. But if you can shoot for a decent takedown in the middle of the cage and the guy is not getting back up.
Right.
So it could be a very quick submission win for John. John's toolkit is just so deep that if Alex has to, as great as Alex is, a lot of his shit is just based on pressure. And Izzy was able to counter him on that pressure. The other time he knocked out Izzy off of pressure. John's so long and lanky. And I mean, Pereira's big, but John is NFL big. And that length, the arm length, the way he puts the hands in the person's face and pokes their eye. And he does a lot of stupid shit to make you upset and angsty and like rush him. And if you rush him on some hand shit, he's just going to change levels on you, take you down. And then now the man is also amazing at jujitsu. Like, and one of the best wrestlers on it. So it makes no sense. And so it's as great as Alex is in that fight, the buildup would be amazing. He doesn't have the tools to beat John Jones.
No,
he can only beat him one way.
Yes, that's the only way you can beat John Jones. If we're just keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
There's no other way to beat John Jones but to punch him in the face. That's it. You're not going to wrestle him.
You're not a better wrestler than DC. And no. DC was getting ragdolled.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have to hit him in the face really hard. And it's never happened. And like Cyril Gane couldn't do it. And I think Alex Pereira would probably be in a similar situation. John Jones crowds your space, submit you. So the thing is that what Alex has accomplished in this short time in the UFC is crazy.
Yeah.
2-division champion. I think he stops Yuri here. But
if he was to, for some reason, catch John and beat John,
oh my God.
And he becomes a 3-division champion, greatest ever, with a loss. That's the nuts. Greatest fighter ever.
Poatan he's become like this fan favorite. And that's why I like this main event, because the walkout is now something that everybody does, the arrow.
Yep.
Like, he has become a star in like such short order.
I played golf the other day and I hit that shit.
Like he's become a guy that everybody wants to watch because he's just hyper violent. Even though Izzy beat him in his last fight, we don't care.
No.
Like we've moved on. We're
they
like,
could
cool.
fight 5 times out of 5 or 10 times, and they could go 5 and 5. Every single one of those will be a knockout.
Yeah, like nobody's staying awake.
No,
there's no way.
No,
there's no way. But I mean, I don't think it'll be fight of the night. It could be, depending on how their punch resistance is on this
performance of the night. Whoever gets knocked out is probably getting performance of the night. I'm not sure if it's gonna be fight of the night.
Somebody getting knocked silly, man. That's all I know. Somebody gonna get knocked silly in this fight. And if you were on the fence of ordering 303 because Conor's not on it, well, if you want to watch violence, you should probably still order this main card. It's a good main card.
Yeah, 100%. Before I let you get out of here, I completely skipped over 2 things that we can touch on real quick in like 5 minutes. Volkan Ozdemir said Johnny Walker to the gods.
Yo,
last week. I'm not sure if Johnny Walker's awake yet.
Nah, man.
I was shocked by that. Volkan hit a second win.
Yeah, he's come back after losing the DC backslid for quite a while. And yeah, again, I didn't watch any of those cards live. I didn't watch them when I came home, but that one I happened to catch on Twitter. It's like, damn. Because the left that he gave Johnny after he was already cooked while he was down. Bing.
The ref did no favors though. Because the ref was like, wait. And then he was not. He was like, yo, listen, if you don't know yet, I'll show you. He's out.
Yep.
And then main event, Robert Whittaker.
I mean,
look, Bobby Knuckles is this. You have to be really, really fucking good. Like DDP, you know what? He might be better than I always thought he was.
Yeah.
because Robert Whittaker is still Robert Whittaker.
He's still that dude, man. He didn't get to fight Hamza, which sucked. I'd love to see how that fight would have turned out. I'm convinced that we're never going to see that Hamza that was running through people during the pandemic. I
No,
think
it's
his health is just
yeah,
is compromised. The Gilbert Burns fight, I mean, you look the Kamaru Usman fight, like he's not the same guy,
no.
clearly. And whatever these health issues are, it's going to have a major effect on him. I don't know if we get to see Hamza back to the guy that probably was going to be a champion.
Yeah.
Nevertheless,
Two division champion. It should have gave us a clue that like something was wrong with his body because when he missed weight against Diaz and
yeah,
he just blew through it, and people are like, "Yo, he doesn't care. Look at it, so disrespectful." Maybe it was like health related. He was just like, "Yo," because now him trying to cut weight and his body just giving out on him. It's one of those things where probably was started happening back then.
probably. So it sucks. But on the other side of it, my favorite thing about Robert Whittaker, outside of the uppercut that absolutely decimated I'm involved, was the post fight when somebody was like, "Hey, what happened if you would have fought Hamzat?" And he was like, "What if I had waffles instead of scrambled eggs for breakfast?" Like, what are we talking about? And I love that answer because Robert Whittaker is still funny and he gets it. He's just like, man, like I can still fight. Now, Sean Strickland said he's not fighting Robert Whittaker under any circumstances because
That's
he's like,
ridiculous. That's the natural fight.
but his rationale actually makes sense. His rationale is, I beat Israel Adesanya, who beat you twice, and I think I beat DDP, who ran your ass over.
He
So
got close to being DDP. That was a
I mean,
close fight.
I thought he beat DDP in
Yeah, it
that
was a
particular
close
fight.
fight.
So he's like, I'm gonna wait for my title fight. I'm gonna wait to see because it obviously Adesanya's fighting DDP in Perth.
If Adesanya wins, it's like, yo, I just beat this dude.
I mean, who he's fighting the winner because there's a storyline for both. So Strickland's gonna fight the champ. I don't know where that leaves Robert Whittaker. I don't know if Kamaru Usman's thinking about staying at middleweight. I
Yeah.
don't know like what's going on with the rest of the division.
It
We don't know
seems like
what's
he
going
was
on
ready to
Hamza.
move past Hamzat, but if Hamzat could get somewhat healthy and you could book that for Abu Dhabi in October, it's a
Yeah.
pretty good fight.
So
Hamzat can fight there.
yeah, so we'll see. But Robert Whittaker looked damn good. I mean, he's still one of the best fighters in the world. It's just Drickus like mauled him that night. Like
Yeah.
none of us saw that coming. There was something else I wanted to bring up. The whole UFC Fight Night Denver card is falling the fuck apart as we speak. Like there's like 4 fighters that are off the card within like 3 days. Macy
Yeah.
Barber's off the card. Tracy Cortez has jumped in the main event. Like there's 2 other fights. Mike Mallet, I think, is off the card. It's that whole Denver card is falling apart. But there was something else MMA related. Can't remember. There was other announcements next
There's a
week.
ton of shit.
Masvidal versus Nate Diaz in a boxing match. That should be fun. But yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's it for the wonderful
Yeah,
world of MMA.
man. Well, we'll see. A lot of shit changes, like you said. Next week's show, it's going to be a whole different bag of MMA stuff to talk about. So appreciate everyone. Great to have you back from Aruba. Make sure you guys check out Patreon. Finally getting this Patreon episode out this week. So that one's going to be dope. Shout out to everyone over there at Corner Club holding it down for us. If you haven't jumped on that, don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Make sure you guys get over there. This is going to be a fun one talking Kendrick. In the meantime, I'll keep it short for myself, for the whole man Andreas Hell. Till next time, we're out.
Peace.